I have an interesting feeling whenever I look back on my life and I find those times where I was in despair or depression or I was in a huge swath of grief. When I look back on those times, they feel almost void. Like if I'm looking at the timeline of my life, I look back on some of those moments and it feels like it's just this empty timeline where nothing really happened and I can't have that much of a memory of it. And it's a bizarre occurrence, but there's a line that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote that is kind of helping me transform this idea a little bit. Because while sometimes I still feel like those moments feel void in my life, I think those moments have a lot more use than I really make it out to be. And there's really this one character, but there's these two characters that are encountering something in Lord of the Rings, in the Return of the King, when they are essentially going through a massive moment of grief. Now both of them are. The main one is Merry, because he's coming back into Minas Tirith after this battle, and he's encountering shell shock. And he's trying to follow the train of Éowyn and Theoden after they're kind of essentially like a funeral procession, but Éowyn is still alive. And Merry kind of gets lost in the mix of things, and he gets found by his best friend Pippin. And Pippin tries to cheer him up, but this is the sentence that it actually talks about for what Merry is going through. And it's such a brilliantly written sentence. And I want to break this down to some extent, but not fully. I'll probably make another video about this. But it says, "To Merry the ascent seemed age-long, a meaningless journey in a hateful dream, going on and on to some dim ending that memory cannot seize." Now, I love this sentence for a few different reasons. Because in the first idea, for J.R.R. Tolkien, one of the greatest authors of all time, he is renowned for writing good journeys and meaningful journeys and purposeful journeys. And for a character to feel like they are going through a meaningless journey is significant for Tolkien. And the second thing, he says going on and on to some dim ending that memory cannot seize. It's this whole idea that shell shock, the shock that he's encountering right now, is kind of throwing all time away. He's getting mixed in this idea that time is folding in on itself, and he's completely confused and lost. And then it says this, because he's walking through this tunnel, or this alleyway, and he thinks, and he was walking out in darkness, and he thought, this is a tunnel leading to a tomb. There we shall stay forever. And it's so sad of what he's encountering. And it's even greater than that too, because in the book, it describes something that the movies never really touch. This idea of the black shadow. Now, this idea of the black shadow is, again, another video that I'm going to make sometime this week, but it's essentially personified as a depression and a grief and a despair that seems almost like a virus. It's this insidious thing that is eating you alive. This is what the books kind of say of this. But now their art and knowledge were baffled, for there were many sick of a malady that would not be healed, and they called it the black shadow, for it came from the Nazgul. And those who were stricken with it fell slowly into an ever deeper dream, and then passed to silence and a deadly cold, and so died. And so he's not just dealing with shell shock, he's dealing with this actual physical manifestation of his grief and his pain. And this seems to be suffocating him and choking him out to the point that it will eventually kill him. Now, it's an incredible part of the book, and I keep saying I'm going to make another video about this, but Aragorn comes in and saves the day and heals him. Aragorn is a healer in the book, even more so than a warrior almost. And this is what Aragorn says about him, and this is the line that is really helping me transform those moments in my life. Because again, I look back on my life, and sometimes those moments just feel void of any meaning or really any purpose. And it's the exact feeling that you feel in those moments with Merry, that you're walking into this this meaningless, this purposeless journey. But those moments have purpose in our life. And Aragorn commends that and says that this is what the real purpose is. Because Pippin is afraid. And Aragorn says, "Do not be afraid. I came in time. I have called him back. He is weary now and grieved, and he has taken a hurt like the Lady Éowyn, daring to smite that deadly thing." And this is great. "But these evils can be amended. So strong and gay a spirit is in him." This is the best part. "His grief he will not forget, but it will not darken his heart. It will teach him wisdom." I get so annoyed with how good of a writer J.R.R. Tolkien is, because all of us know this feeling. The grief that's happened in my life, I never really forget that. I always kind of carry it with me. It just seems like this companion that is always by my side. And sometimes those moments when I feel like I cannot really get any purpose or meaning out of that, it's foolishness now to think that. Because in those moments, I need to be like Mary here, because I cannot let those moments darken my heart. What I need to do is I need to learn wisdom from these moments. And I think this is the line that J.R.R. Tolkien is really helping me understand, that in those moments in my life when grief and despair seem to take over, they're not just void moments. They're moments that can be used as an opportunity to learn wisdom from. And I think inevitably we just become wiser because of those moments. But I think it's helping me look back on those moments and really helping me to glean this idea that I can become wiser because of these moments, that they're not just these purposeless moments that happen in my life. And I think this is really a good help for all of us to understand that those terrible moments that happen in our life can really be used for purpose, and they can really be actually meaningful in our life journey. And I think this is the line that is really helping me understand that. So that's all I got for you today. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe. And as always, remember to look toward Numenor that was, and beyond to Elvenhome that is, and to that which is beyond Elvenhome and will ever be. I'll see you in the next one.